Hello friends, and happy Easter. Today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different with this video. I'm going to introduce a series that I will be doing over the next few weeks on the theological virtues, which are faith, hope, and charity. And the reason I'm doing this is the theological virtues are essential to our life in Christ. If we don't have faith, hope, and charity, we have nothing. But despite that, many of us, even good Christians, have only a foggy understanding of what these virtues are. For instance, if you ask somebody off the street what faith, hope, and charity are, they'll tell you that faith is believing that God exists, hope is a vague sense that God's got it under control and the world is getting better, and charity is being a good person. However, we know that the Christian life is more complex and far richer than that.
Tamquam sposus Dominus gratiae.
So what are the theological virtues and why are they so important? Well, according to the Catechism of the Catholic Church, the theological virtues adapt our faculties to partaking in the divine nature. That's a complicated way of saying that by the theological virtues, we become holy, we become saints and can get into heaven. It's by the theological virtues that we enter into relationship with God. Now, you might have never heard faith described as a virtue before. So what does it mean when we talk about these as virtues? Well, virtues are habits. They're not one-time events, but they're things you practice over and over again until they become second nature to you. So it's like practicing a sport. You don't start off good at basketball, but rather you practice over and over and over again to the point of making a free throw is like second nature to you. In the same way, faith is not a one-time event. Neither is hope or charity. Rather, it's a continual walking with God and cooperating with His grace. And they're also different than natural virtues. So it's different than chastity or temperance and things like that because they are related to God. The first way that they're related to God is their object is God. So by faith, we believe in God. Hope, we hope in God, and charity, we love God. The best way to demonstrate the difference is by looking at charity. Charity is not really our love of other people, it's our love of God, which then spills out to love of our neighbor. It's primarily love of God. Second, they're infused. What that means is God has to give them to you. They're acts of grace that we do not merit. This is why faith is different than scientific knowledge. It's not simply believing that God exists in the same way we believe in other things that we can't see, like gravity. Rather, it's a supernatural belief. Lastly, the theological virtues are revealed by God. That means God needed to teach us them. He needed to make them known to us, which He does through His Son, Jesus Christ. God had to show us what charity is. He had to teach us in what and how to hope. And He showed us what it means to believe, to have faith. This is why the hope of a Christian, for instance, is completely different than the secular hope in the world that things are going to improve. So I hope you enjoyed this short introduction. Next week, we'll be talking about the theological virtue of faith and all the common misconceptions we have of what faith is. I hope you can join us because these are essential to life in Christ.
Cilia